Jess, make me an influencer.
Josh, that's not how it works. But I do think it would be great if you posted more on LinkedIn.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Hey, Jess. Remember when you first started, and I think one of the first things on your mind was like, how do we get Nick, our co-founder, and myself posting more on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
That was really, really impactful. It's now one of the biggest drivers of pipeline for us, and it's like how our customers find us.
Yeah.
Why was that so important for you? Obviously, you're Jess Cook. You're kind of a content fiend. We all know your followers. But why was that important for you to have Nick and I sort of investing in that space?
Yeah. I think it is so important now for people to see the founders of a brand and how they think.
Yeah.
It builds so much trust if your point of view aligns with your audience's point of view and what you're saying is interesting and different to them.
Yeah.
And what Nick is saying, your co-founder, our co-founder, is interesting and different to them.
When you first got here, we were posting like occasionally.
Yeah.
And we saw the results. Like every time we would post, like you and I could look at our signups or our form submissions, and there was a direct correlation.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like classic kind of founders were like, I don't really feel comfortable posting. I don't really know how to do this. You kind of came in and helped us build out like a system for it.
Yeah. And that's really important because the systems that you put in place give you the consistency, right? Before that, you and Nick were posting whenever you had kind of an idea, right? Yep. It might have been a couple times a week. And you were probably putting a decent amount of time into it because you didn't have the systems in place.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do when I came in is make it easier for you to post consistently so that we could have, more of those irons in the fire, get more people seeing what you're thinking and talking about more often so we can see those spikes in signups more often.
You and I actually have a conversation with someone recently in preparation for this podcast where they were basically saying, hey, the best guests and the best hosts are the people that have actually had experience in the thing that they're talking about.
Yeah.
So when you started helping me with content, it wasn't like you just ghost wrote it for me. Although you do have experience, you thought it was really important that the ideas come from me. And that kind of leads us into the system that you helped us build.
Yeah. The ideas have to come from you. People will know. It'll feel disingenuous. It'll feel like someone else wrote it because they'll see you on a video clip and they won't match. Yeah. And it'll be very obvious. Yeah. So what I wanted to do was really build a system, both for you and Nick, that still were 100% your words.
Yep.
Just crafted in a way that can scale and a way that had the most power and effectiveness on LinkedIn.
You have to tell people how you did this because I was mind blown. And the other thing for listeners to keep in mind is Nick is a very different voice than mine is, right? So the thing you had to build was not only a system to keep us consistent, but it had to represent something that we both actually felt comfortable posting.
Yes.
How did you do that?
Okay. So first step, and I'm going to give everyone listening the actual prompts, because I think that's really important too, that I used AI to kind of build some of this. So cool. First thing was I asked you and Nick for your entire download of posts that you'd ever done on LinkedIn so far. So you need something to train your Gen AI on.
So cool.
So I was like, give me the CSV file of all your posts, and I want them ordered from top performing to, least performant.
Yep.
So I got that from both of you. I gave that I use Claude. I just love the experience of Claude so much more.
So you can set up projects and stuff, right?
Set up projects. I think the writing is actually more human that comes back. The experience feels more human. It's just better in my opinion. Just, my 2 cents. But so I would feed that. I fed that into Claude. And the prompt was, give me a prompt, right? So I think a really big hack not a lot of people know about is to ask Gen AI to give you the prompt you need to do the thing you need to do.
That's some Inception shit.
It's crazy. It's very meta.
That's really cool.
It's almost cannibalistic or something. I don't know. It's weird. But it works really well.
Wow. So you told Claude, hey, here's a bunch of posts.
Yes.
Generate me a prompt.
Yes. I was like, okay, here are all of Josh's top performing posts. Give me a prompt that any LLM could use to understand the tone, voice, and structure of the top performing posts.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And so what it does is it thinks for a second, right? And then it kind of spits out the tone and voice, usually separate.
Yep.
And it's a ton of bullet points, right? And it talks about like the cadence and the words you
Whoa.
use. Do you use a lot of commas or M dashes?
I love the M dash.
Me too. The best. And do you use emojis? Do you use exclamation points? Do you use sarcasm, right?
Yeah.
Like it gives all of that information.
Yep.
And then the structure is very much about the spacing, the length of the sentences, all of the things that kind of make up the framework of your top performing post.
Does he even start to look at the types of things that we write about? So for example, Nick, right, for those out there that don't know him, very stoic, little conservative, mostly post about work, right?
Yep.
I'm out there like, I stubbed my toe today, guys.
Yeah.
Like, did it know that?
It knows that, yes, that like your tone is very different, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I've not asked it to do is give me anything about content.
Got it. Okay.
Because I'm going to give it the content later. I'm going to tell it what I want it to write about topic-wise.
Okay.
So what I want is tone and voice and structure. So ask your LLM to create a prompt that any LLM can use.
That's so cool.
Yeah. To understand the tone of voice and the structure.
Okay.
So that's step 1. Step 2 is set up a 30-minute meeting weekly with your SME, whoever that is, right?
Yep.
Your CEO, your CMO, whoever is willing and able to post. Now, I will say, go ahead. No,
you just jogged my brain, which is like, what a great call out of like, this doesn't have to be just your founders posting, right?
Correct.
You could build a system here for, hey, head of product, PMM, right? Just anyone that's close to the customer that's got ideas. You could build a really big system here.
Oh, absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I even see this being like someday when we're a bigger company.
Yeah.
Like I could give, whoever reports to Nick, maybe there's somebody else that reports to Nick and I can just hand them this package of the, prompts and things and say, here, go do this with Nick, right? So we can scale that even more. We can do that with whoever is head of product. Yeah. We can do that with Allie someday, that's right? Cool. Like, okay, Amy who works underneath Allie. Yeah. Here, take this and once a month, sit down with Allie and do this.
Would you, before you go back into where you were going, is this, I don't know a lot about this like space of tools I'm about to talk about. Is this like a poor man's Jasper or copy.ai, or are those different?
They're a little different. Okay. So the next step would be, so we do our meeting, right? Yeah. We sit down and it's usually for about 30 minutes and we come prepared. We have a running document, you and I, right? We have, these are kind of the questions we want to ask. Yep. And usually it's like, oh, I heard this thing in the news this week or a customer talked about this and I want to ask Josh about that we call it content mining. Yep. In our content mining session. And you'll have stuff too. You'll hear things from customers. Yep. You'll talk to product about something and it kind of jogs something for you. Yep. So we come prepared every week. We have a couple bullets. We can only usually get about, through maybe 3, 4, 5 of them, right? But that's plenty. Yes. Yep. And so what we do is I set you up with a good question and you kind of rattle off your answer, right? Yep. And so now I have 30 minutes of gold. Yes. If you have a transcript and you have video, you have so much to work with. Yeah.
And by the way, for those that are thinking about like, well, where does this recording happen? We started in Zoom.
Yes, we did.
And then we moved away from it eventually.
We did. Zoom, the quality of the video was okay. Yeah. But when you put it up on LinkedIn and it gets compressed, the quality was not great. And we're going for mobile first. Yep. So we're going for that kind of portrait layout. Yeah. Because that's what LinkedIn loves right now. And so it was pretty grainy, right? Yeah. Which we're testing things out. We're young, scrappy little company.
Move fast.
Yeah, we're going to break things. I don't know why I'm Southern.
We're not recording this in Tennessee or Texas, but pretend we are.
So anyway, we ended up moving to StreamYard of all places. Yes. We had already made an investment there because we wanted to do some LinkedIn Live content and the quality is beautiful. Yep. So just keep that in mind. If you, as you record these, make sure it's like video quality you would want to post on LinkedIn. Yeah,
but you could use a Riverside or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Once I have that, I sit down and again, I go back to Claude. Yep. And I grab the transcript. Okay. And my first step is I want to identify the best sound bites. Okay. So I put the transcript into Claude and I'm like, find me the, 8 best sound bites.
So you just put the whole thing in there?
I put the whole thing in there. Yeah.
That's cool.
I just drop it in.
Wow.
And I'm like, find me the best 8 sound bites from Josh. Yep. And what it gives me usually is like the most complete quotes from you.
Got it.
Oh, one more thing, very important. Yep. I always say, do not make anything up. Only use the words that are here in this transcript, because AI does that sometimes.
Yeah.
Really, all AI is autocomplete.
Yeah.
A very, very smart autocomplete.
Just guessing
right?
the next word in
exactly.
the sequence. Yeah.
And so it will just make stuff up sometimes and like give you words that were not in your mouth.
Yeah.
So that was a very important thing for me to be like, don't add anything else.
Yeah.
Just tell me the exact thing that he said.
Okay.
So now I have like 8 really good quotes from you, but they're not a good full story. There's not enough context to them.
Yep.
So usually what I do, I also use Descript. A lot of tools to make this happen, but it's okay. This is just what works for me.
Yep.
So I love Descript. I go into Descript and I kind of find those spots.
Yep.
I grab the transcript of what's around that.
Okay.
And I put it back into Claude. And I say, of all of this, give me the most succinct, less than 60-second clip.
Wow.
I also say, it does not have to go in chronological order. So if Claude thinks that this thing at the bottom that you said would be a better opener, it will move that to the top for me.
So you're almost having it do like not that the scrubbing is not the right word, but the clipping and the moving of all the pieces, it's doing for you.
It's building the script for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really great.
Because when we record it, they're not always perfect, right? For the CEOs out there that feel like me, which was like, this is nerve-wracking, right? We have a couple sessions where I'm like, let's do this later because my head's not in the right space. Like, that's good to know, is like, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can go out of order and it will figure itself out the best way to tell that story.
Totally. And I think people are used to seeing clips like that, right? I mean, we're so used to this conversational type of content now that, something you say, in 3 minutes will still relate to something we're talking about right now and might be a really great hook.
Yeah.
So now I have that. So now I go back into Descript and I build that, right? So Descript, if you don't know, Descript is like you edit the video by editing the script.
Yep.
It's lovely.
So good.
It's so great. Mm-hmm. So I rearrange the pieces.
Yep.
And then that's where the human element has to come in.
Yeah.
Now I go in and I'm like, I listen to it, right? And I'm like, it doesn't quite work the way Claude thought it would. All Claude had was words on a page.
Yeah.
What I have is your body language, your intonation, right?
Yeah,
and sometimes like the way you said the thing that we thought was going to be a good hook, like doesn't flow right into the rest of it.
Yep.
So then I just make adjustments, right? And I get us down to like the very, very best clip. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're not done.
Okay.
Because what do I always send you with your videos?
You send me the actual LinkedIn post itself and the video to go along with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we have to write a post.
Yeah.
So now what I do is I go back to Claude.
Yep.
And I say, here is a video that, I'm using the project that I trained on your voice and tone and structure.
This comes back into play now.
So now I come back to that project. And I say, this is the video Josh is going to post. Here's the transcript of that.
Yep.
Here is everything he said about this topic. Right? So now I go back to the full transcript. I take that.
Yep.
And I say, using the tone and voice and structure documented here.
Yeah.
And the transcripts.
Yep.
Please give me a LinkedIn post for this video.
That's so cool.
And what it gives me is probably 80% of the way there.
Okay.
It's really close.
Yep.
They really like to let you use a lot of bullets. Claude really thinks you love bullets.
It's not wrong.
They're not wrong, but you don't need 9.
Love myself a good listicle.
Right. The listicles from Josh. But like, you don't need 3 different sets of 3 bullets in every post, right? So then now it's my turn again to go back in and edit and make it feel like a really solid post to go with your video.
So good. So there's a lot of steps here.
There are.
And it could, for those listening that maybe haven't done those steps, it can feel like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. What's the time commitment? So you do this for 2 people every single week.
Yep.
How much time commitment are you putting into this?
So 30 minutes times 2 for the Content Mighty meetings.
Yep.
And then it's about 3 hours.
Okay. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
No.
So 4 hours total in the week to get you, and usually we net out between 4 and 5 posts for you.
Yep. Yep.
Which then you kind of seed out through what's your posting strategy?
Yeah. So every week before the week I'm going to use them, you basically say like, hey, content's done. And so you send me this Google Doc and I go through them. They're almost perfect. Like I would say we've been doing this for several months. Like maybe I've edited one.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even because it was like wrong. It was like, oh, like it spoke about this competitor and I said that in confidence and I don't want to talk about that out loud,
sure.
right? Just like, it wasn't even
Whoops.
like, yeah. Like, no, did I say they suck? My bad. So I'll like delete that part, even though it's true. And so, yeah, I'll go through them and then make sure just everything like flows. If you and I have something that like we're launching or a product launch, like we'll align the certain things that we spoke about to the right days.
Yep.
And then I'll go in, I haven't matured yet to a tool, but I'll just go into LinkedIn's like native scheduler for now and I'll get them scheduled. And then again, you typically give me between 3 and 5. And so depending on how much we get out of it, sometimes that's like all my content for the week. In fact, I've had the opposite happen where you've given me so much content that like, you know, sometimes you're in the gym and you're like, oh, this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
I have those posts and I'm just like, actually don't have anywhere to put it on my content calendar because I have so much from Jess already.
That's a good problem
It's a really good problem to have. And so, yeah, for me on the receiving end, takes me 15 minutes on a Monday to basically just slot them in on my LinkedIn.
Yeah. Amazing.
So nice. Yeah.
And what have you noticed since we've built this cadence in terms of engagement or even signups?
It's incredible. Like I think we mentioned in a previous episode that you and I had recently quadrupled our inbound demo submissions. And I think a huge part of that was this, but there's also these sort of like intangibles as well, which is like we were at CMO Summit and people are like, we've seen your content and just all this sort of stuff. And the thing that I've started to notice is that our investment in content in general, whether it's the stuff you're doing for us or your followership, or we have Sarah and we have Alex now, right? We have a big community of folks. I'm noticing that other folks almost want to like graft on to like our brand voice.
Yeah.
And so we're starting to get like, I mean, this is a silly like jump in conclusion, but it's even like, I would say our content has even opened up like the types of partners that will like want to work with us, right? Like you do a lot of work with Goldcast. They're amazing. Like these sort of folks, I think like our brand has elevated because our content's there.
Yeah.
And before, you know, especially when you're working with partnerships, there's always that sort of like, who's bigger in the room here and like who's getting the most benefit out of this?
Yeah.
I think partners are starting to come to us and say like, actually, we want to be associated to the Vector brand because you put out great content.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we're not done. We're going to continue to do this process.
Yep.
I think something we'll want to start measuring is like, we'll want to go back and look at, okay, we've been doing this for like 3 months now.
Yeah.
From the past 3 months, what are our top performers? Okay, what themes can we glean from those top performers?
Yeah.
You know, was it a video? Was it just text? What did we talk about?
Yeah.
What was the hook like? The hook is so important, right?
Yep.
So those are the things that I'll want to kind of like, to optimize to keep this process going and keep the goodness going and like make it work even harder for us. Like that will be something I want to review.
So will we go and basically do what we did at the beginning, which is like download all the posts, get all the performance metrics and just reevaluate?
Totally.
That's smart.
And we'll feed that back into Claude and say like, here's some more top performers. Like, let's continue to like build the knowledge there.
Super cool.
You asked about Jasper earlier. That is another tool that we use.
Yep.
I have found that Claude just gets your voice better.
Got it. Is Jasper more designed for like the brand voice? Like when you're writing blogs that represent the entire company? Is that what it's more for?
I have built a voice inside of Jasper for you and Nick.
Got it. Okay.
I just find that Claude does a better job of interpreting it.
Yeah.
Now, I do usually use Jasper for a lot of our blog content.
Got it.
And it does a really good job with that.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I think we're in this era of AI where you kind of have to try doing the exact same thing, the exact same prompt in a couple different tools and just find what works best for you.
And it probably changes, right? In 60 days, they might release a new model and maybe that one will be better. You just constantly have to be on the lookout for these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's really exciting to me though is like all of these posts are your thoughts, your voice.
Yes.
And we've just found a way to use AI to like make it faster for us, make it more consistent, and use it as like a sales tool.
Well, and I think that's how you subjectively measure it, which is like, does the person that I'm helping craft this content for feel comfortable posting it, right, in their voice? I remember Nick went out on his own and like hired a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
And just none of the content that came from the ghostwriter, he felt comfortable, right? It wasn't his brand voice. It wasn't his like ideas and positioning. And so I like that you're actually taking the stuff we're saying and making us comfortable with it. And I think anecdotally, when you first got here, I think I had like 7,000 LinkedIn followers, and this week I'm about to pass 10.
Hell yes.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
You're an influencer.
I'm an influencer. Thanks for making me an influencer, Jess.
You're so welcome.
Can't influence shit.
Josh.
Yes?
I think we've gotten to the point of the show where we stare. Just stare.
Deeply
into the camera. And we deliver positive affirmations that all marketers deserve.
That's my favorite part. Let's do it.
It's the best.
Let's do it.
Dear marketer, when you develop a brand voice, Morgan Freeman dies just a little.
Dear marketer, you create buyer personas so accurate, the IRS issues them a social security number.
So I think another reason that this has been really important for us, obviously the LinkedIn algorithm favors people's profiles and posts.
Yep.
So much more than a corporate profile or post, company page. And what we've started to do, and I think part of our LinkedIn strategy going forward for the corporate page, for the Vector page, will be reposting our internal thought leaders' posts. And so that's something we've been doing, where if you go to the Vector LinkedIn page right now, much of the content there is actually not original from Vector because we just don't get the impressions.
Yeah.
But your content is great. Nick's content is great. Me and Sarah and Alex, we have really great things to say about the company and what we're doing there. And so usually what I do is I'll just jump in, and if we have a really great post and it's getting good engagement, I'll have Vector repost. And so it's kind of just a nice little nod that like Vector, the company, has signed off on this point of view and this way of doing things. And I think that's a really interesting strategy rather than trying to come up with a whole third set of content for the company that's going to get an eighth of the engagement.
Exactly. And it feeds really well into something you and I talked about in a previous episode, which is we ungated our product, basically. We have a bunch of free users. And you and I noticed that as a positive side effect of doing that, we have all of these people that are posting, here's how I use Vector, and here's these workflows. And so to your point, we haven't really had to create a lot of corporate content because it's basically just, like you said, reposting employee stuff and sort of like blessing it. And then sort of sharing our customer stuff and how they're using it, which I think our customers like because it gives them more visibility right into their thought leadership. And so it becomes like a organic kind of account to follow versus like, oh, I'm going to follow another corporate account here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, we will post content from Vector that's original, right? We have a very big product launch going forward tomorrow actually. By the time this goes live, it will have been out for a while. But Funnel Vision is going live, which is kind of a new view inside the product. That's lovely and fabulous. And the name, the name.
Who came up with that one?
I did. That was me. But we'll use the company page to announce that. We'll use all of our employees to announce that, right? But the way we're going to do it is we're not giving them, hey, here's the thing you need to post. Say this. What I want them to do is I've given them an asset, like a short little video that kind of announces the new product. But then I want them to talk about what hand they had in it. Right?
Speaking of which, can we just agree that the whole, I don't know what the software is called, but there's this thing where marketers can basically write content on behalf of the brand and then it will auto post for the employees. And it's so obvious. I'll always just get these ones where it's just like people, I'm like, you don't even like working there, but for some reason every Wednesday you post this thing about some product that you launch. I'm like, that was automated. I feel like what you've done is you've taken people that actually want to grow their followership within Vector and say hey, here's the tools to go create actual thought leadership. And it's like when you and Sarah on our team started, right? This is something we talked about, which is the content that you post is still very real to your audience, right? It doesn't all just become Vector.
Right.
I think that's a huge part in some of the content you've helped me write. It doesn't feel like a gigantic infomercial for what we do.
Totally. I wanted so much of it to be about how you're building Vector, the way you think about things.
Yeah.
You know, even brand. I think you've had some really great posts just about brand in general.
Yes. Yep.
And people love that. Like those are some of your top performing posts that we've put together.
Yeah.
And, you know, our tool doesn't have anything to do with brand. No. It doesn't help you in that regard.
Exactly.
But I think it's so important to hear a founder talk about how important brand is, because it's different. Not all founders feel that way.
Yeah. Well, and I think there was like a eureka moment that you guided me to, which is I had to step back and figure out like what unique angle do I bring to LinkedIn? Mm-hmm. And even though I've been a marketer before and been in agencies and was at a MarTech company, I'm not actually like the front runner in marketing, you know, information. Right. And so all of these posts that I used to write before you were almost like preachy from a perspective that I didn't have, right? Of just like, oh, I talked to a bunch of CMOs today and here's what I learned. And I realized that like, actually, that's not the unique angle I have. It's like being a founder of a marketing company, right? And sort of my lessons in figuring out how to market to marketers correctly. That's once we kind of cracked that disposition, it really helped.
Yeah. But those posts are still helpful. Like you still do talk to many CMOs on a weekly basis.
Yes. Yeah.
And in doing so, you're seeing themes that not everybody sees.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty fascinating too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. If there's something like authentic that I'm seeing in the market from having customer conversations, I love that. Where I can't get away with is like I spent 8 hours optimizing our LinkedIn ads today and here's the copy that I use, right?
Totally.
It's just, that's not my space and people can see through that pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, that was great.
It was good. I like that one.
Good meeting.
It would have made a really good LinkedIn post.
You know what? This meeting could have been a podcast.
It was.
This meeting could have been a podcast is a Vector production. Vector is a contact-based marketing tool that reveals your best buyers on and off your site and lets you target them with plays tailored to their exact spot in the funnel. Our site de-anonymization tool is free forever. Go give it a whirl at vector.co. See you next time.